Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
The thing that is most misunderstood about sports radio is its function. It's not that you're supposed to look. There are shifts, there are day parts where if you want to get into the minutia, if you want to talk about cycling and what they do on special teams and all the other things that go into it, all the details that go into being an NHL team, there are shifts for that. There are hours of that. That's not what a morning show does. That's what a morning show isn't supposed to. I'm supposed to call someone or bring the coach on who will explain those moves. I bring the general manager on. I can bring on one of the players. This is what hosting a morning show does. I'm hard-pressed to think that going to work for a job that you hate, for a boss who sucks, for you getting yelled at every day and maybe not getting the money that's worth it to you. Maybe you have a hard day where you're outside every day. Hey, there's a lot of people in Western Canada that listen to that show that weren't just from Calgary. They were also from Saskatchewan. When you know these guys would be out working the fields and so on. They wanted to get some laughs in with a little bit of the sports. So what you want to do is be an entertaining guy, and hopefully you have the chops to actually do that. And then on the other side, you call someone who can explain all those things better than I can, better than any probably morning guy can, because there's a reason why they're a morning guy, because they were probably, for the most part, in broadcast and maybe not a great athlete. Look, my background is weird. It's different. I played at a very high level of sports, but I also started doing stand-up when I was in grade 12. Freak and weird. I was a goalie and a drummer. All the weird stuff that goes into this brain where I hear the voices. I'm sitting there looking at a football game. All of a sudden, I hear Peyton Manning going, what he should have done. What he should have done was you got to pull that back. You got to make them read into when you're going to play action pass. You don't just run with it, dummy. That's not RPO. This is what goes on in his head. This is what I have going on. Bob Cole,
I get it.
All kinds of stuff is going on there.
I don't even think it's weird.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Guilty as charged. Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome inside of Football Friday, live from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, where we got the Moose Jaw Warriors Alumni Golf Classic going on just out of doors here. It's a picture-perfect day in the Band City. And Moose is in Toronto, where I understand you're having a beautiful day there, unless you're an Argos fan. We'll be jumping into that right away here. On a very busy weekend. I'm ready for the weekend, Moose. How about you? What do you got going on? What do you got popping?
It's a great day here too. And as I told you this morning, I'm getting into these Eastern time zone games. I was up till darn near 2 a.m. Just to catch the end and then wind down from the game. But you know what? I'm okay with that because I'm more of a night owl anyways.
Yeah, you've always been that. I'm the early to bed guy. Hey, the guests today are Jim Barker. Turns out an unscheduled guest, the Silver Fox, Kelly Rempel's going to be with us, and Taylor Shire will be with us from the Leader Post as well. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? So here, it's funny you say that. So why I like my life in a lot of ways, but for me, I can watch these games on television, and then in the case of the Roughriders last night, let me read, for those that don't know, if you've been living under a rock, the Saskatchewan Roughriders remain undefeated to start the CFL season, courtesy of a 30-23 victory over the visiting Toronto Argonauts Thursday night. The Riders improved to 4-0, while the Argos dropped to 2-2. Marcus Sayles scored the game-winning touchdown for Saskatchewan on a 54-yard pick six late in the fourth quarter. So that's the game that we're all talking about. Darren stayed up late. For me, I can watch the game on television, just strike the match, and then go to bed. which is what I did. I put the photo up on the Rod Pedersen Show Facebook page and then just let people comment away, right? And people are coming at me going, I told you, see, the season's not done. See, I'm like, what are you trolling me for? I picked the Riders to win, which I did. I was confident they would win. Darren, that guy picked Toronto to win, but not me. So what are you trolling me for? So the point is I can literally, I can watch the game, and then I literally went immediately to bed. There's no commute home. There's nothing. And I missed a lot of the first quarter and a bit, most of the first half, because I was at the Warriors Alumni Golf Social. And let me tell you, that was a big fun. And I just stop for a second and say, when I got players come up to me and say, the things you said on the air and the things you wrote had a real impact. And with you covering our team and the league, it made us feel big time. We just really appreciated the job you did in the Western League. I was like, wow, I was just really doing a job and enjoying it. You know what I mean? You don't know who you're touching or who you're impacting along the way. So that was really nice there. Then I'm like, I got to go back. I got to watch this football game because we're going to be talking about it tomorrow. And they're all like, where are you going? Where are you going? You know how that is. I'm like, see ya. See you tomorrow. So here we are, Moose. I guess we're going to get to all the other CFL games in a second, but why not? It's a Football Friday. People writing us and telling us they really enjoyed yesterday's program where we did a lot of CFL because, let's be honest, it's summertime in Canada. That's what we do. Shea Pedersen, the quarterback for Saskatchewan. I don't know how you are on numbers, Darren. I mean, I look at them. I don't go by them. But Shea Pedersen, who made his first CFL start for the Riders last night, was around, I think, 97.4% quarterback efficiency. 97.4%. That's very good in your CFL debut. They didn't turn the ball over one time. And then with the Argos, Cameron Dukes on the other side, who was only making his sixth start career, he was 22. 2-2. That was his quarterback efficiency rating. He looked overwhelmed. So even though he was raining interceptions and he looked bad, all the Argos looked bad. Riders are 4-0. There's nothing that they can apologize for, that they have to, or feel bad about. Everything's gone their way. We're at a point now where maybe half of me thought their early wins were lucky. I'm like, I don't think it's lucky anymore. They're a good team. They're defying what they should be doing. You shouldn't be playing this synergy. What's the synergy? Whatever the word is. This cohesive. You shouldn't be playing this cohesive this early with a new coach and new coordinators. You shouldn't, but they are. So that's my take on the game last night. What's yours?
Yeah, you are right. And, we bring on these analysts from around the league, and they know what they're talking about. Was it Lapo that said this week, and you can refresh me about how good the Riders' defense has been playing? I know Jim Barker's mentioned it, and their ability to be takeaway machines. And you know what? That really insulated Shea Pedersen, was that defense. It wasn't that Shea Pedersen went out and lit the world on fire, but he didn't need to. We talked about this yesterday. He did enough to show that he can be capable of running the offense. Now, as games get a little more critical and you need a score and all the rest, he's going to grow. That was his first start. But he did well and this was, again, a great job by Mark Mueller, with the game plan. A.J. Ouellette carried the ball enough. They used their key playmakers, getting the ball out into time and space. Emelis came up with a couple of big catches. The receivers, Kean Schaefer Baker made a big one on second down over the middle in the second half. They made enough plays, and he used his legs when he needed to. I thought it was a complete game, and a game in which the Riders took advantage of some mistakes by the Argos.
Yeah, well, when you talk about Paul LaPolice, he also said that Cameron Dukes doesn't seem to make any mistakes. Listen, people were writing our accounts last night. Joe and I were talking about trolling us. Oh, thought he didn't make any mistakes. Oh, Rod, you said this. No, Lapo said that, and I actually said this. But listen, let's keep it positive. If anybody wants to complain, they want to talk about the low attendance. I don't even want to go there. Don't troll us. I picked them to win. You can't keep straight who said what and who didn't. You know what I mean? You're seeing these comments, right? Rod, you said that Cameron Dukes doesn't make mistakes. I didn't say it. Okay? So why? Just enjoy the win and 4-0, which, again, I picked you to do. So I don't understand. Well, I know how to push their buttons, and sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's just not fun because it's so easy. Just enjoy the win. By the way,
drink your beer.
What do you got?
Have your dessert. Have your dessert. And enjoy the win. I just don't love when the second the game's over, you're no longer enjoying the win. You're looking to come back and rub it in somebody else's face or the post-game trash talk. But you
right. Thanks for I do, but they don't. And yes, it's kind of my own fault because, like I said, I struck the match. Night, night. And I was asleep I got up in the middle of the night because I'm old to make that trip to the bathroom. Like, oh, let's see what they're saying. Then you're scrolling for an hour. Oh, yeah. Anyways, make your birthday complete and unforgettable here at the Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Book your birthday party with us for a fun-filled celebration packed with sports, games, and endless excitement. Visit GoldenTicketSportsCenter.com to reserve your spot today. It's funny. I'm sitting here sweating a little bit because it's a hot one, but not outrageously hot. I got an email from BocaNews.com, my news source in South Florida where I live normally, and a heat warning today for Palm Beach County, which is where we live, 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's with the humidity. I can't even imagine. I talked to Serena and told her that, I feel bad I'm up here, she's down there. She's like, don't feel bad, enjoy it. She's like, it's unbearable here heat-wise. So anyways, here, warm, but nothing like that. Enjoying it. I'm going to come back. Jayla writes, hey, Jayla, good to hear from you. Stamps fan. She says the Argos looked so bad last night. Now, hang on. Are you saying that because you're a Stamps fan and you don't want to give the Riders credit? Or do you really mean that? Jayla's a huge CFL fan and Stampeders fan, but here's my thing. I'm watching the game going, Toronto's giving them the game. The interceptions were bad. Cameron Dukes was terrible. But that's not the Riders' fault. That is not the Riders' fault. The Riders, look, they're not the best team in the league. Montreal is. I do think it's funny, though, that people say that it's going to be a Sask Montreal Grey Cup. Guys, we just started July. Settle down. Now, to the text line, Darren, 902-518-3033. Junior writes in from Winnipeg. Junior. He says, hey, boys, love the show in Winnipeg. I hope the weather is good for the game tonight in Winnipeg. Me too. Let's switch over to that. We got a lot of Winnipeg fans. I guess that surprises me after all the years that I was with the Roughriders. But then again, hey, the Warriors, who, my God, I would have needed a police escort in and out of this town back in the day. They are showering me with gear, Darren, the Warriors. So the Bombers, if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to shower me with gear. The Moose Jaw Warriors, who would have ever thought, if you know the history of me and sports teams in this province, man, I may put this on an hour too. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's nice to have the option. But in Winnipeg, they like us too. And so our poll question tonight, Ottawa's there tonight. Ottawa at Winnipeg. The poll question is who wins? And I'm going to go against my intuition on this. And I'm going to pick Ottawa to win. Darren, maybe this is the change. Maybe this is the changing of the guard. I've said I will not. If Zach Collaros was starting, I would pick Winnipeg. Strevler's never, to me, really been all that. Chris Strevler. Looks great in a fur coat. Not so great on the field. There's your meme for the day, Darren. Looks great in a fur coat, not so great on the field. I'm picking Ottawa to win tonight.
How about that?
How about
I'm still
that?
taking Winnipeg.
You're thinking.
I'm still
You are
taking
too?
Winnipeg.
You're taking Winnipeg?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm still taking Winnipeg. Although I'm a big Drew Brown fan, and they met in the rain, right? And Winnipeg got a chance late in that game, couldn't close it out, couldn't come back. Ottawa ended up with the win. I'm curious to see how Drew Brown plays back in Winnipeg, hopefully with much, much better weather than we saw in the early matchup. I love it that the schedule makers have created this early in the season for him to go back and play each other twice. And we never saw Bo go back to Calgary once last year, but they got it right this time with Ottawa and Winnipeg. I know it's by accident and by fluke. I'm really looking forward to it. Ottawa is a team on the rise. I don't want to say they're a great team yet because they're still behind Montreal. I think they're behind Toronto still, but I'm not sure. They're trying to work their way into being a playoff team. It's a big game tonight.
You CFL fans better dang well be enjoying this as much as we are, because you bitch you want more CFL talk all year.
It's an
now
ESPG.
You got it. What?
It's an
early season big game. It's an early season big game, and ESBG is done. John Lynch would say. By the way, I met a guy in Florida. Did I tell you his name's John Cherry? I'm like, oh, man, we could have a lot of fun with that. John Cherry. Wow. He had no idea the significance of that. What do you mean?
Who would?
Never mind. But not in Florida, you wouldn't know. No. So I said I'm going to Ottawa. I reserved judgment until kickoff because I went back and I checked the receipts. You and I both picked Winnipeg when we did the picks on Wednesday, and now I'm sitting here. I don't know. But at that day, we didn't know who was starting at quarterback then. Maybe we were too early with our picks. People, our sales manager, Joe, was laughing when he saw my post on social media where I put that the Riders won last night and that I picked them to win. Because people were writing in going, no, you didn't. No, you keep picking against us, Rod, because we keep winning. I'm like, check the receipts. I picked the Riders to beat Toronto in multiple places, multiple occasions going into the game last night. So, again, I don't get why you're coming at me. But with this one, Winnipeg, Ottawa tonight, I don't know. Drew Brown's return, Darren, I might have you sold by the end of the show that Ottawa's going to win tonight. He's going to want to put on a show in his open and say, you chose Strebler over me, so suck on that. God, really got myself so fired up for this one tonight. I'm not going to be able to watch it, though, because I'm broadcasting a double header of baseball here tonight. The Moose Jaw Millers and the Swift Current 57s, and that's going to be big fun. Bomber Boy writes in and he says, good morning, RP. Is the early Riders' success an indictment on Craig Dickinson or proof that Corey Mace is just that good? It's whatever you want to believe it to be. It would be my first answer to that. Number two, I don't think anybody thought Corey Mace wasn't going to be a great head coach. I didn't think he would be this great this early. I think we all thought it was a great hire. Nobody thought it was a bad hire. But he's ahead of schedule. What do you think, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, we said it's going to be better. I mean, and I did. I knew this year was going to be better. That wasn't a leap. I assume, and I still kind of assume, next year and the year after are their years where, they can be considered contenders for the Grey Cup. You should be excited and front runners coming into camp, all the rest. But it's happening now. To me, this is a bonus. This is a bonus. You got something you didn't pay for here, and so enjoy it. This is great. It's not a fluke because you got good people in there, on the field and on the sideline. This is good. This is what you wanted, and you got a little bit bonus. I like it.
When the Rider fans were trolling me, which, say that out loud, Rider fans were trolling me about the win last night, I felt like coming back and saying, oh, you were the one that said Mark Mueller only got hired because of who his grandpa was. You're the one that... Just put your phone down, Rod, and go back to bed. The old me would have shot... But we're going to get a fight with Rider fans. My God, it's my people. But it's just, again, I knew when they hired Mark Mueller, he'd be one of the brightest offensive minds in the league, and he's showing it. And he was credited, by the way, if you watched at the end of the game, Shea Pedersen credited Mark for his game calling last night. Guys, I'm going to break. Moose, I'll see you back in hour 2, and you will only do one segment next hour. You'll get an early start to the weekend as the Silver Fox is coming in at 11:20 our time. So thanks for this.
All right. You bet. See you later.
Jim Barker from the CFL on TSN joins us next. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastih.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is, and welcome back, everybody. We are brought to you in part by the Saskatchewan Rattlers professional basketball team of the CEBL. They play at a SaskTel Center, offering the best entertainment for all of Saskatchewan sports fans. They're home tonight to the Scarborough Shooting Stars. It is Teddy Buckets Allen's debut with the Rattlers. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.ca or head on down to the Rattlers front office in downtown Saskatoon. Please welcome the CFL on TSN's Jim Barker for his weekly appearance. And we haven't spent enough time, JB, on the other two games, the Saturday, Sunday games in the CFL. So I hope we can get to those. But can you give me, please, your assessment of last night's Riders win over the Argos, 30-23? Riders that good or Argos that bad?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that what, you talked about, Lapo talking about, I lost my train of thought. The quarterback for
Dukes.
the Argos, Dukes, about him being perfect. Okay. Well, when you first take a guy who hasn't done anything and you bring him along and you give him things slowly and you let him grow and he doesn't make mistakes, you're going to win games when you have a great defense. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have a great defense. I mean, Montreal's defense you'd have to put above them right now, but I don't think by very much because that secondary is growing by the minute in Saskatchewan. And I think Roland Milligan is as good a player as there is in the league, as a tackler, as a ball hawk, as just everything. Jameer Thurman is all over the field, understanding exactly what Corey wants. And they're getting more out of Micah Johnson that I thought they could get at this. I mean, I was watching him in the fourth quarter, and he was running around and making plays, and that's impressive. So if that defense keeps playing like they are, the Riders are going to be in games. Now, here's what I was going to say about Dukes. Dukes played perfect for 2 weeks, for the most part. He threw 5 touchdowns. They didn't turn the ball over. If you don't turn the ball over in this league, I mean, they beat the BC Lions, which was a real good win. They beat Edmonton, who hasn't won a game yet, but they still did enough things to win because they didn't give the game away. Well, what happens is now they go to game 3, okay, and they give Dukes a little bit more against Montreal. And again, he didn't play as well. He's getting a little more. Plus, I thought Noel Thorpe just did a masterful job in terms of scheming him. A lot of zone, mostly all zone. They didn't, even when they blitzed. Usually when you blitz, you play man-to-man. They blitzed and played zone, and he was confused by where guys were dropping and things like that. So now you get to game 4 with Cameron Dukes. And again, you're trying to grow his package. And it got to that point where it's too much. It was obvious in the fourth quarter that he was just throwing the ball up. And again, I thought that a lot of the same things that Noel Thorpe did, Corey Mace did the same thing. He played a lot of zone coverage. He would run zone pressures, bring guys off an edge. And I tried to show a little bit of that because Toronto was doing that to Shea Pedersen. And I thought Mark Mueller made a great adjustment. And actually, bringing the guy off the edge, they blocked him up, got Emelis the ball, and then some poor tackling by Toronto. That's the other thing about Saskatchewan is their secondary tackles very well, just like Montreal. If your secondary doesn't tackle well, like Toronto's does not tackle well, you're going to be in for, problems because teams are going to throw the ball underneath, and you got to come up and make tackles. So the Cameron Dukes thing is a little bit of maybe Ryan Dinwiddie giving him more than he should, and then him when the game was 20-20. I said to the rest of the panel, I said, I don't think Saskatchewan can score. And sure enough, they did. They didn't until they got the turnovers. They got the ball deep in their end. They didn't want to have to punt out there, so they took some chances, threw some edge routes, and 2 of them, he just overthrew Coxie. It went off his hands and got intercepted on the Sales play. And then the other, he just trying to throw a seam, and you watch that, and he just had no business throwing that, trying to do too much to win the game.
For sure. So we got to speed this up.
That's my take
Ottawa.
on the quarterbacks.
Yeah. Ottawa at Winnipeg tonight. I love the fact the CFL, here's a quirk, you probably saw it. Never have 3 teams been 0-4 to start a season like they are this year. And Winnipeg is one of them, Edmonton and Hamilton. Never happened. What do you think happens tonight in Winnipeg? Ottawa's there.
Well, the matchup for Winnipeg, I don't think is good. I mean, their weaknesses are secondary, and Streveler, I don't know if people remember back to 2019, but he was the quarterback when they brought Zach Caleros in. Streveler was the quarterback, and they were getting ready to get fired. I mean, they couldn't win a game, and I think he's very single-dimensional. They had a 2nd and 12, I remember. This was before Zach got hurt. And they ran a quarterback draw. And I thought, at some point he's going to have to throw. And when he threw, it was easy to see why he wasn't throwing because I didn't think was very accurate. And I don't know if you can win with that kind of thing. Ottawa, on the other hand, plays great up front. What they do is give up big plays. Their secondary has been struggling. They've got guys hurt back there. Dandridge is hurt. And Money Hunter's hurt. So they've got new guys back there. But if you don't have the people that can exploit it, and Winnipeg has not shown that they have a playmaker in that receiving bunch. I mean, Dembski gets, maybe people pay more attention to him because you got no Dalton Schoen in there. You don't have that big play guy, and they haven't shown they have a big play guy. So I think this is a good matchup for Ottawa. I think coming off of that win that they pulled out from nowhere, I give them a real chance because I do think Winnipeg has lost their aura. They still have a lot of the good players, and Brady Oliveira at any time can wake up and the offensive line can start to block people. But there's just a lot of things that seem wrong with this team. So I would pick Ottawa actually in the game.
I picked Ottawa earlier in the week.
To quote a great prognosticator I heard, Traveler looks great in a coat, not so great on the field.
How about that?
I think that's going to come back and haunt me, but I'm going to stick with it. I picked Winnipeg earlier in the week until I saw that Zach wasn't playing, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going over to Ottawa. We got a lot of Stampeders fans writing me wanting some analysis on their game at Montreal. And for them, it's the game of the week. Should be a good one. Stamps at Al's. What's your thoughts on that one going in?
Well, they're gonna get tested for sure. DeMario Houston's not in, and I think one of their problems is their secondary. They got a lot of young guys back there. Now you take DeMario Houston out. I think this is going to be a tough call for Saskatchewan going in to Montreal. And again, Jake Mayer at quarterback. They're going to give him, that defense is going to give him problems. Noel Thorpe is very good, and he will have some things that Jake's going to have to play his best game. And can he do that? I mean, he's shown he can. I like their receivers. Dedrick Mills didn't practice a lot this week. He's nicked up. So they've got some problems injury-wise that make this matchup even tougher for them. So I think they're in tough. It would be a shock to see them win this game because of the things I talked about. But again, they have playmakers. They have guys who can take it to the house. And Mark and Michelle, those guys, they can take it anytime. And when you have that, you have a great opportunity.
You're very close to that Hamilton market, both literally and figuratively. So I'm wondering what you're hearing out of there at 0-4 with BC coming in the Sunday game.
Yeah, this is a tough ball game for them because BC is trying to stay with Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan and BC play next week in what'll be the two best teams in the West for sure. It should be a great matchup. You're going to get a much better look at what is Saskatchewan. Right now they're an undefeated team, and you have to say as good as any team in the league. The BC Lions go into Toronto and lose to the Argonauts. That's their only blemish, but they have such firepower. So for Hamilton, they fired Boudreau. They've had major problems on special teams since the beginning of the season, from too many men on the field penalties to, I think the squib kick. It just like where that came from, I have no idea. So I think there was a lot of things that went into that. They bring Dennis McKnight in. Can that invigorate them? Can that make them better immediately? Maybe not huge. I think Bo Levi has been playing okay at home. I think he's played great. So he needs to get back to the game he was playing and get those receivers to help him. Tim White's got to play at a high level. Can they beat the BC Lions? They absolutely can beat the BC Lions. Will they beat the BC Lions? That's a tough question because there's just so many question marks right now with that club. They're claiming players. They're still moving their roster around, trying to figure out where to play their Canadians. They seem to be Canadian poor, and I think that's caught up to them. And they claimed Dwayne Knight away from the Argos this week off their practice roster. So again, they're still trying to fill their roster right. So are they good enough? If the good Bo Levi comes out and those receivers play like they can, they absolutely can beat the BC Lions. But their secondary is weak. Their defense has played poorly. And VA is not a guy you want to put a mediocre defense against.
No. Well, and I saw a stat that Scott Milanovich is 2-15 in his last 17 games as a head coach, something like that.
Yeah.
And people saying that he's overrated.
With me. Obviously, some of those were with me, and that was when Ricky Ray.
Go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that are that, again, you can look at things like that. Ricky Ray got hurt. We brought Drew Willie in thinking, it was a Grey Cup year for us, and probably pressed too much to try to, and we lost the last few games, obviously, and I lost my job, and so he yeah, he struggled a little bit, but I think you have to look at the full thing of his history. What does he do? He leaves here and he goes to the NFL and actually gets, a different perspective of things. And to bring him back and to say that he's a 2-15, I think is just an inaccurate depiction of who Scott Milanovich is. Now, is he in a ideal situation in Hamilton? No, I don't think he is. Again, who's Ed Hervey's the GM and Orlando is, I'm not sure what Orlando is. And, they just, what are they? Who's responsible for what? I mean, are the players not good enough? Is the coaching not good enough? It's tough to say. And when you have those kind of questions, they reek through your locker room, and it makes going from losing to winning tough without winning a few games. It's like what Edmonton's going through. What was the biggest game of the year? Saskatchewan versus Edmonton. Saskatchewan won that. They're 4-0. They all believe. And Edmonton lost it, and they all have questions. And that's the way it works in pro football. And that's what's happening in Toronto right now. I honestly believe that.
I agree with you. And we could sit there and say, the Riders are 4-0. They could be 2-2. They could be 1-3, but they're not. They're 4-0. As you say, they're getting belief, right? And they are getting confidence in each other. And it's really interesting what you say. Scott Milanovich, I think, is an outstanding head coach, an outstanding guy. And he knows, and the talent just doesn't seem to be there. But it's funny because Paul LaPolice was with us this week, and he was talking about dealing with the media and how some coaches don't want to do that. And I thought of when you said the best role you thought was being an offensive coordinator. And I get it now. You didn't have to deal with the media. You just had to coach. You didn't have to worry about the talent. Right? That's why guys like it so much. And Lapo was like, if you don't like dealing with the media, don't be a head coach. So that was a real fun discussion with him.
That's
okay,
why it
Jim,
was my
we'll be watching.
Job.
There
Okay.
you go. There you go. Well, you're doing a great job on the panel. I love it.
Weekend.
Keep it. You betcha.
It's a great weekend
Enjoy the
for
ball.
the
We'll talk to
CFL.
you.
Very good.
Exactly. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you. When we come back, we got a sports update and a lot of viewer takeover, and I hope you're enjoying the CFL heavy talk today. I know I am, and all week long, and really probably all summer long. I want to address some things that I've seen from fans across the country with regards to the CFL. I just don't agree with what they're saying, and I'll give you my thoughts on that because that's what we do here. That's why it's called The Rod Pedersen Show. We'll be right back. We are live on the Game Plus television network. Also on the radio in Atlanta. Right, Ryan O Radio down there? Happy belated 4th of July to you, Ryan O Radio, and our U.S. friends. We'll be back in a moment on all those broadcast platforms, as well as Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, let's get it going, everybody. Let's hear the comments. 902-518-3033 is the text line. And, of course, you can write it on streaming or our various social media channels. Here's a sports update, however, on this Friday. There's a million things going on, but here are some. The Winnipeg Jets have signed defenseman Hayden Fleury and forward Mason Shaw. The Jets said Thursday that both deals are 1 year, two-way contracts with an average annual value of $775,000 in the NHL. Fleury from Carlisle, Sask, glad you asked, was originally drafted in the first round by Carolina back in 2014. He has 37 points in 268 career NHL games for the Hurricanes, Ducks, Kraken, and Lightning. He was the guy that collided with ref Steve Kazuri. Remember that this winter? I don't think he ever played again. But I'm sure he'll be fine for Winnipeg. Meanwhile, Lloyd Pandy scored the game-winning basket on a driving layup through a pair of Montreal defenders as the Ottawa Blackjacks managed to hold off a hard-charging Montreal Alliance team in target score time to squeak out a 92-91 win Thursday at the arena at TD Place. Meanwhile, a season-best offensive performance from the Niagara River Lions led them to a near wire-to-wire 109-89 win over the Calgary Surge Thursday night. Niagara shot an identical 53% from the field and from beyond the arc, drilling 15 threes and leading by as many as 25 points en route to their highest scoring total of the season. That's all in the Canadian Elite Basketball League on Thursday night. And tonight, it is the Saskatchewan Rattlers home to the Scarborough Shooting Stars. I won't be at this one. We have a doubleheader here, the Moose Jaw Miller Express, the winners of 5 in a row, home to the Swift Current 57s. Doubleheader, 6 o'clock at 8:30. You can watch on Home Team Live. But anyways, to the sports on television, I'm going to get to that in a second. I do want to tell you, though, that the sports update's brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Now playing at Landmark Cinemas, Bad Boys, Ride or Die. This summer, the world's favorite bad boys are back with their iconic mix of edge-of-your-seat action and outrageous comedy, but this time with a twist. Miami's finest are now on the run, starring Tiffany Haddish, Vanessa Hudgens, Will Smith, and, of course, Martin Lawrence. I've seen it. 2 thumbs up from the Monday Morning Goalie, and I will probably go again this weekend. We'll see. Also brought to you by Golden Ticket Sports Center here in Moose Jaw, your hub for sports, fitness, and community fun. Now, one of the things I said I wanted to address stuff that I've seen online just since last night's game. I'm not going to get into at all the attendance at the Roughriders game last night. It wasn't great, obviously, but whatever. I'm more interested in what's going on the field. And I saw the complaints about a Thursday night game, the cost of gas, the cost of tickets, whatever. just don't want to touch that. But what I did see was people complaining about the CFL's schedule here in the summertime. And it's like, why are they going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a game every night? It should be 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday. Why? I think it's phenomenal. They're on primetime television on national TV 4 straight nights. We all care about how it affects us, right? So I guess you may not like it because it doesn't fit your schedule. Can we at least step outside of ourselves and think about what's best for the league? And I like it. I've watched parts of every single game almost, and if I'm not watching it parked in front of the television set at home, I'll have it streaming at the ballpark, which is what I'll be doing tonight when Ottawa is in Winnipeg. So I think the CFL really, really, really got it right. And this is the second summer, maybe the third, where they're playing every night going into the weekend in the summer. And that changes come fall, where they want to avoid Sundays with the NFL because it's in fashion to bash on the CFL. And one thing that I've always done, people that have known me for a long time, I always buck the trend. Everybody's going this way, I'm going to go this way. And that's why you end up with your own show. Because it's not like everything else. And I'm not, but you got to believe it. And so I don't want to bash the CFL. Everybody's bashing the CFL. I don't want to be that guy. The games are great. And that's the other thing. Last night, I got to go in and look at the score sheet again, but it was basically 20 about, but 4 or 5 minutes to go. I'm sitting there watching the game, Riders and Argos last night, going, what is going to happen in the last 3 minutes? And sure enough, a pick 6 decided the game. That's the other thing. You guys are going all hot and bothered about the soccer, which is totally fine. But I think I saw a stat today that Canada is into the quarterfinal having scored 1 goal in 3 games. I don't get it. And I ain't never going to get it, obviously. But as far as excitement goes, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just that much of an adrenaline junkie. These CFL games are great. I don't get why people want to bitch about it or what nights they're on. I think they just like to bitch. And that's when I stop listening. Sorry. Text line 902-518-3033. Bomber Boy, listen, Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in, and he says, your thoughts on Sean Lemon being told he cannot play during his suspension appeal? For those that don't know, if you're a CFL fan, you would know this. If you are not a CFL fan, you're probably not watching right now, but I'll just update you anyways. Defensive lineman for the Montreal Alouettes, 3-time Grey Cup champion, suspended for gambling on his own team games, or basically just violating the CFL's policy on gambling. Appealed it, and then was playing, and it went to a mediator, and the mediator decided, it was announced Thursday, that while this has been put off to August now before we make a decision on the finality of your punishment, you're not going to be able to play. And that was announced yesterday. So Sean Lemon, it didn't look good at all for the CFL to have a suspended player playing. Now, you want to get into workplace rules and HR and all that. I mean, I think you are, while on suspension, allowed to work. In most workplaces, they've deemed that that's not the case here. So I don't have any inside knowledge on this, and I don't want any. We talked yesterday about how my very strong personal relationships with the Roughriders players caused me problems with the team, right? So that's why I'm staying arm's length away from everything. I don't want to know too much. What I think happened here, and nobody's told me I'm wrong, but Sean Lemon, when he retired in the early spring, long before the season started, he retired, and then the CFL came out with an announcement that they were disciplining him for for gambling. He's like, I already retired. Now you're just making me look bad, so now I'm going to unretire and come back and play and appeal this. I think they should have just let sleeping dogs die, let Sean Lemon retire in peace, and nobody knows about any of this, and it's a GD fiasco now. That's what I think. I don't know that. That's just my guess. Len in Swift Current writes in, and I'll be seeing you, Lenny Boy, next Friday night. Saskatchewan Hockey Association Hall of Fame induction dinner. We'll be inducting Corey Sarich, Travis Moan, Patrick Marleau, and a host of others. Len writes in, he says, great game. We are going to have a quarterback, a number one quarterback here sooner than later. He's referring to Shea Pedersen. And one more great game by the Riders. This is from Brian in Hudson's Bay. Great game by the Riders last night. The defense was fantastic. Low attendance? I'm not sure about that. It was a Thursday night, and they had more there than the other teams get on their best nights, except Winnipeg. The crowds will pick up when they start playing on Fridays Fridays and Saturdays. Go Riders. Yeah, so, I mean, say what you want, but it's not a topic I'm interested in. We'll be right back with more. I've done the sports update, so let's get more of your comments in when we return on all these CFL games this weekend. We covered a lot of great stuff here with Jim Barker. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now back to the studio with Rod.
Hey, everybody. The studio is here in Moose Jaw, the Golden Ticket Sports Center. The Moose Jaw Warriors Alumni Golf Classics going on just out the doors here. For those that know the area, we're at the Hillcrest Golf and Country Club. And the Silver Fox will be joining us next hour, as well as Taylor Shire from the Leader Post. We'll be talking about a lot of CFL-related stuff. Moose is going to be back in next hour, too. But it's Canada, it's summer. We're Canada's daytime sports talk show, but also airing in 31 U.S. states here on Game Plus TV and WQEE Radio. And it's funny, so I said I'm just not really into soccer. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, some might deem soccer as boring, but I'm afraid on a worldwide scale, you are in the vast minority. It's totally fine by me. If you're speaking to me specifically, we can't be into everything. And I will say this, in the 90s, with all the kids that grew up playing soccer at that time, kids born in the 90s or late 80s, all my friends, because mine were born after about 2000 and didn't play soccer, but a lot of my friends' kids were playing soccer, and I was like, all of their kids were playing soccer. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yep. Eventually, soccer is going to be a really big deal in this country and in this area. But I didn't grow up playing it. I don't really understand it. And I'll be honest with you, I went to the Canadian Premier League games in Calgary when I was there over the last 2 years, and I loved it. And I'm sitting there going, now I kind of get it. The athleticism is off the charts. But what's interesting about that, we were doing the show at the Grey Eagle Event Center at the time, and they had a lot of European staff working there. And, of course, I get to know all the staff. I get talking to them, and they're like, that's soccer? Compared to European soccer. I'm like, well, I don't know, man. I just had a good time. We're going to be soccer snobs now, like football snobs, hockey. It's the one thing about hockey. I'm sitting here with my Moose Jaw Warriors golf shirt on. We don't sit and poo-poo NHL. It's just junior. Or AHL, East Coast League, Southern Pro. I don't get it. We just don't do it in the game. You play hockey? Awesome. We'll come watch if we get a chance. I just don't get these other sports. Paul in Humboldt writes in, he goes, by the way, watch out, CFL, when Dukes learns to throw the hot pattern against the blitz. Yeah, and I'm not sure, though, that was what was going on last night. If you watched, especially in the second half, because, again, I didn't turn it on until late in the first half, the Riders were just sitting back. What's up, 90? Okay. The Riders were just sitting back and he was throwing, looking at a white jersey that was in the middle of 4 green jerseys. We're like, what are you looking at? I don't know what he was looking at, but he ended up getting picked off all those times. I didn't see them blitzing him a lot, which is my point. The other thing is we're in a time in this business. Look at Game Plus. We got all this variety of shows on the network. Some I like, some I don't. You know, if you want to come here for soccer talk, you're going to be disappointed. So we stick to hockey and football and whatever else is topical. Just can't please everybody. Sherry writes in, she says, the only sport as exciting as soccer is watching goldfish chase a ping pong ball. Hey, it's the world's #1 sport. I get it. I don't care for it. Please don't be offended. If you are, that's a you problem. Clay and Brandon writes in, and he says, well said, Rod. The CFL schedule is excellent. A game every night is really what you would want. Every night in prime time, and I see people bitching about it. So that's when I close my phone. As I say, every time I see a stupid comment online, I close my phone. Put it down. My social media consumption's gone down by 97%. We'll see you for a big hour, too, coming after this break on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This is peak Florida. Yes, it is. It's just so mean. From the moment I set foot there, they're like, don't leave. And the only reason I am is because it's too damn hot. But it's just anything goes, man. No helmets on motorcycles. No law. There's no laws in Florida. Ponies mating, and it's just my kind of thing.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
That's a fact, Jack. Welcome to the RP Show's Hour 2. I hope you're having as much fun as we are. I hope you're ready for the weekend. It's Canada's daytime sports talk show. It's absolutely lovely and perfect day here on the prairies. Moose is in Toronto. And I'm sorry, Clark, did you say we have Darren? He's with us?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay, let's bring him in. We are also live from, let's just say this, the Moose Jaw Warriors Alumni Golf Classic, because it's just outside the doors. So all the great Warriors, this will mean, well, there was a lot of NHLers there last night. Troy Brouwer among the Moose was here, Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks, right? It was really awesome last night. Lane Manson, just for the old-time hockey folks and fans that are watching, Lauren Mulliken, Jamie Reeve, Scott Reed, Scott Barnstable, I mentioned Lane Manson, just a shorter list of who wasn't there last night for the Moose Jaw Warriors. And the Silver Fox will be joining us here later on this hour. We're talking about the CFL schedule, okay, Darren? And I would like your take on this. You were in the media business. People I saw last night bitching about Thursday night games. And whether it was that they couldn't get to the game or whatever, they were making an excuse why they couldn't. They're like, there should be 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday in the CFL all year. Sorry, yeah, I think that's what they said. Colin in Ottawa writes, and he says, I'm so sick and tired of hearing complaints about Thursday night games. Guys, the league needs TV numbers, and the fact you have to go back to work the next day is secondary. It's really not that big a deal. How far are you driving, really? My point is, I love a game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I watch them all. How are you on the decision the CFL's made here to do this?
I go back and forth. I could go either way. I mean, at the end of the day, they got to make a decision that's best for them. I'm never somebody who only looks at me and what works best for me and considers that the best option for everybody, right? I've never been that guy. If you want to know what would be good for me, I love the idea of having not 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. Because what this league, the cornerstone of the league and TV, Friday night football. That is it for me, right? I would say have a doubleheader every Friday night and sprinkle the games, the other 2 games outside of that, however you want. But I would go with a doubleheader Friday night every week. Those would be your biggest 2 games. For me, that's it. And definitely have something on, Thursday and Saturday or Saturday, Sunday, whatever you want.
This really cracked open a Pandora's box of comments, Moose. Scott in Winnipeg writes in and says, you are exactly right. The ones complaining about 4 games and 4 nights are complaining because it doesn't fit their schedule. There's most likely just as many, if not more, people whose schedule it fits perfectly fine. I personally like the 4 games and 4 nights every week. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for agreeing. I mean, I know I'm right. I'm pretty much always right. It just takes some people longer to see it, and I'm okay with waiting. What else do I have to do? You were with me in that chapters, Darren, in Calgary, I think, when Jayla came up and said, hey, remember Jayla came up? Yeah. So Jayla's like all over the show today. So Jayla writes in and says, the Riders' D was outstanding last night. And says the Bombers are in desperation mode. It's a do-or-die game. Jayla's referring to tonight's game, Friday Night Football, Winnipeg at Montreal. And again, I will have my phone up. I stream the TSN if I can't watch it live because I'll be broadcasting a doubleheader in the WCBL. And, but tell you what, we had some pretty hot, spicy memes coming out of hour 1. You see, Jim Barker said, I think Winnipeg has lost their aura. That's from Jim. You going to take that, Winnipeg? You going to take it lying down? Is that going to be enough to fire him up tonight? What do you think? Maybe, is he right?
I'm going to have to say something good about Winnipeg because our accounts are going to be full of Winnipeg bashing for the next, 8 hours till kickoff or however long it is. Not that long, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be spicy. The comments are going to be spicy this afternoon.
JK writes in, we got a real, I want to make this very clear to people. They all know that we love the CFL, but I'm not going to do it in the wintertime. So when the season's on, I'm all for it, especially on Fridays, just so you know. But when we do NHL topics, it gets 10 times the reaction. But I think CFL fans would know that. So it's a business decision for us, just like it's a business decision for everybody else. But JK writes in and he says, driving into a game and working at 6 a.m. make a difference. Yeah, nobody's arguing that at all. But what if you were there last night on an absolutely perfect prairie summer evening? I used to say there's no better place in the world than Taylor Field on a summer night. Remember, you probably heard me say that on the radio, Darren, back in the day, and I meant it. And that was the case last night.
Yeah.
It makes going to work at 6 a.m. the next day not as hard. Because trust me, I've done it. Not just as a broadcaster, but also as a fan. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to say, I was there. I saw all my friends, and it was amazing, right? Or don't go. Because sometimes the team craps the bed when you drive a long ways. That's the gamble that you take when you buy a ticket and go.
Do you really, if you're living in Saskatoon even, Prince Albert, let's Weyburn, Estevan, then that's not that far, right? If you're living north of these places, east, west, wherever, are you really going to 9 games a year, right? And some people will say, I go to all 9 home games, no matter what. Well, yeah, but not everybody does, right? So don't go to the Thursday one. Pick the games where they play on Friday night or Saturdays or Sundays. Leave the Thursdays for the people who live in Moose Jaw, Weyburn, and maybe Yorkton, Melville, and people closer to Regina. That's why there's multiple games throughout the year, and they're not all on Thursday nights.
I got my hockey friends writing me. I got my football friends writing me. Life is good in my world. And by the way, I got late into your meeting, our staff meeting this morning, because I was dealing with a recovery emergency. I will inform those that don't know. I'm a licensed, certified, board-certified mental health and addiction recovery coach. So I had with a person, a recovery emergency this morning. So I was a little, but I tell you, I was Tracy Lawrence this morning, always running behind. I was always running behind this morning because I was dealing with that. So I overheard you and Clark talking about, was it the Blue Jays game where you said 80% of the people in the section you sit in at Blue Jays games aren't even watching the game? Or did Clark say that about a Rider games, or what was it? I couldn't remember.
Well, here's how it went. He was talking about being in Pill Country last night. And he said he met up with some old friends, and you get talking, and Pill Country's kind of that, not sitting in your assigned seat necessarily, just watching the game in your section. You kind of mingle around. You're up on the rail. And I was comparing that to, there's a bar at Rogers Center. It's called the Catch Bar. It's in the outfield, right above the dugout. There's a rail to stand on, a bar. It's kind of walk around. And there's a game going on where most of the people that are there are just having a good old time, not really watching every pitch. And when something exciting happens, they turn, they look around, you can see the big screen. That's what we were talking about.
Listen, oh boy, you're going to love this. I've never told you this. I don't think I've ever told anybody this. It's not a big deal, but just the culture of football in Saskatchewan is this. I have told you this. I used to always hear this from the Roughrider guys that came through, the players and coaches, that it's just like Mississippi, just like Alabama. And I didn't know what they meant until I went to Mississippi and Alabama. Oh, I get it. It's the biggest thing here because it's the only thing here. And that's a fact, okay? It's the only pro team, and I'm sorry to the NLL and CEBL. You're getting there, but you're not where the Riders are. And they got 100 years head start on you, 114-year head start. But just to give you an idea, talking about the partying at games ain't new in any league, because my dad,
right,
who was in recovery from alcoholism like I am now, 10 years for me. That came up last night, by the way, at the Warrior Alumni Golf. How many years for me? And everybody's all happy. It was great. But my dad used to say he only had a subscription to the Leader Post newspaper so that he could pick it up the next morning and find out who won the game. He was at the game, but he didn't know who won. My dad screwed a bottle opener to the back of the bench in front of him. That was my dad. Wooden bleachers in the old Taylor Field. My dad had a bottle opener that he screwed to the back of the rail in front of him, the seat bench in front of him, so he could open his Pilsner stubbies. So again, partying at games isn't new. Okay? So like literally, are you going, but he's a farmer, didn't know anything about football, just went for the party. You know what I mean? And that tradition still goes on today. And, I mean, for me, when I go to NHL games in Florida, I'm obviously not going to party, never, ever really did, because it was always been my job. But I guess, are you going to watch the game, or are you going for or are you going for the experience? Because if you're going for the game, you might as well just watch it on TV. What do you think about that concept?
Yeah, there's something to be said about that for sure. But that's why everybody can go to the games for their own reasons, right? And that's kind of what baseball for me going live is good for that. I'm a bit of a squirrel, right? As you know, we don't hide the fact we're both riddled with ADHD. But, when I go to a ball game, yes, it's 3.5 hours, some nights, 4 hours at most, 2.5. But I, get there early, walk around, see all the things, get a drink. We go to our seats. We sit in our seats for 3 innings. Then we walk to get popcorn. We go stand somewhere else for a bit. Then we go and visit at the bar and watch that for a few innings. Then we go back to our seats, right? It's good. There's not just one way to experience the ball game. And I think more sports are getting on board with that. As Clark mentioned, he watched half the game with his buddies, half the game in his seats. That's what's great about sports. You can do different things.
Sure, and that's why I have been relatively good, I think, at this job. I have so many young broadcasters say to me, how come you've had such a long career? And it's like, I don't know. I didn't construct it this way. But you have to understand something. Have you ever broadcast baseball, Darren, by the way? Because I had never broadcast a game until this year. Okay, I hadn't until this year. So I can't go to a game really for the social factor, because when you're sitting in the press box, everybody's watching the game, and you know this because you've been in the press boxes. Intermission, different story. That's when we will chat with the with the play-by-play broadcasters, because they're on a break in the intermission. The scouts aren't making their notes. They're not pre-scouting. You know what I mean? When you're down in the crowd, somebody might spill a beer on you. Something, you see your buddy. Well, you're going to miss some of the action. And when you're there for a job, you can't miss it. Okay? And doing baseball, hey, Rems, the Silver Fox coming in next. Did I tell you this? Doing baseball, which I'd never done before this year, you could at times with hockey take your eye off the play, because I knew how to watch 200 by 85. I know how to do that. I was raised that way. Football, some guys can take their eye off the play. Carm was like that, my color guy for 18 years. He didn't have to watch the whole thing, and somehow he saw it. But in baseball, you can't take your eye off the pitch. You can't. Because you can sit there telling a story and stuff, but you better know, how did that guy get on first? Did he get hit? Did he walk? Did he get a single? What did he lay down? But you can't take your eye off every pitch. Which, when I started doing this, it was a little annoying, and then I realized how to do it. It's, for me, like broadcasting is like being a quarterback. Like Shea Pedersen last night, I had my phone going off from football guys all over North America texting me their analysis, like I wanted it, of the game. And they thought after the first quarter, Shea Pedersen was done for the Riders. I equate it to me broadcasting baseball for the Millers this year. It took me a couple of weeks to get into a rhythm and figure it out. It took Shea Pedersen about a half to get into a rhythm and figure it out last night. And in the end, he's diving for the game-winning touchdown. He's not turning the ball over. So this is a guy making his first pro start last night, and he did not look like a guy making his first pro start last night. Did he win him the game? No. Did he lose him the game? No. Their defense won him the game last night, but to quote Etch, that's complimentary football. And that's why it's taken me 6 years on this show to settle in, to go, I know you want us to talk cricket. We're not going to talk cricket. Not you, but the guy at Game Plus. Great guy. We're not going to talk cricket here. The people that want soccer coverage, you ain't going to get it here. We're going to talk hockey, football, and baseball when it's topical. Taking me a while to figure it all out, but I figured it out. It's like a quarterback taking a quarter or a half to figure the game out. So don't think it's over after 15 minutes or a half. And those coaches that were texting me last night, I would have thought you know that. But I guess they don't. Anyway, I can't wait to get you on, Rems. You got a message for the Silver Fox?
Yeah, you can tell him that I miss him, and I'm excited to see him on the air.
He misses you.
And hopefully I see him when I come back to Sask.
And he hopes to see you this summer. Okay. Darren, have a great weekend. And for God's sake, stay safe. And young. And young, he says. We'll be right back on a Football Friday live from the Moose Jaw Warriors Alumni Golf Classic. Live here on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
902 518 3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Okay, everybody, here we are. How about this? It's a Football Friday. We got our guy here, the Silver Fox, Kelly Rempel, live in studio, and the Golden Ticket Sports Center. Tell the folks what you said to me when you sat down about our placement. This was good.
Why you weren't outside?
Yeah, tell them what's going on outside.
Well, we got the Moose Jaw Warriors annual alumni golf tournament, and I'm not a golfer, Rod, but I do like to sell 50-50 tickets. So I'm out there selling 50-50s and trying to make money for this fine organization. So great to catch up with so many friends and guys that I either grew up watching or maybe worked with back in the day when I was the director of marketing for the Warriors. Guys like Scott DeCarmi and Ken Staniforth and just so many. I could go on and on. Theo, unfortunately, couldn't make it. He got pneumonia or something like that.
Yeah, he sends his regards, obviously.
Just talking to Troy Brower, lots of good times. But I asked you off the air, I said, Rod, how come you don't set up outside and you got the golf course in the background and kind of do it that way? He said, because over the years, your experience is that when guys are teeing off and all of a sudden you let them...
Welcome back, everybody.
You sometimes get the...
Doesn't tend to go over very well.
You get the evil eye. But for crying out loud, it's not that serious. It's an alumni golf tournament.
You've been in these tournaments, man.
I know. They need to settle down and get a life.
They act like it's the Memorial Cup. Welcome.
Give them a mulligan then, for God's sakes.
As Mulligan's here.
I know.
I talked to him last night. Yeah. So anyway.
Another great guy.
The best.
Jamie Reeve?
Reaver, we had a great time here. When the hockey guys get together, as Tiger Williams says, stuff's going to happen. So you're seeing my messages here from the viewers. We're having a good old CFL chat. I'll read them to you.
Put my glasses on, Roddy.
Here we go.
My sunglasses.
Stevie Wonder here. Donald Mitchell.
You want me to go like this the whole time?
Sure. Navy Dawn writes in from Ottawa. It's Football Friday, so we're talking CFL. NFL's not going on, so it's perfect for the CFL fans right now. He says, He says, the hate on social media towards the CFL by Canadians is hilarious. Do they really think the NFL is chomping at the bit to move into Canada, or that more Canadians would watch if the CFL was the same as the NFL? That move would guarantee the end of the CFL, in my opinion. The reason that came up, I said, I saw people bitching about the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday games in the summer in the CFL. I love it. I absolutely adore it. Yeah.
Me
Can
too.
you talk about that? Why do you love it so much?
I love it because I could watch all the games.
Me too.
If they were all going on at the same time, then you can only pick one. I could watch, and then you know what, Rod? When I can't watch, I DVR. Maybe I know that, like tonight would be a good example. Okay, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
And I got a few plans a little bit later on, so I'm going to have to pick the game up at halftime-ish. But instead of doing that, I'll throw it on my DVR, and by the time they're playing the last 3 minutes, I should be caught up, blowing through the commercials and that. I love it. I love the fact that there's games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes they'll have 2 games on Saturday or 2 games on Sunday later on in the year. But would people rather they were all at the same time on Sunday and then they have to choose the one? I don't understand why anybody wouldn't like a game a day.
You and I are about the same age. When did you figure out that people are happy when they're unhappy? They're happy when they're bitching.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I am, and that kind of, I don't mean to get off the subject of the
show is
track.
Stage is yours.
Well, we were talking before we came on air about it just absolutely just, I find it incomprehensible that smart football people from the southern states where football is like religion, it's kind of like hockey here.
Yep.
And they would be ready to throw in the towel on Shea Pedersen's career after 1 quarter of football. I mean, how many times do we have to see, guys needing some time to develop, to understand? I mean, I saw a stat one time, Rod. Have you looked at Anthony Calvillo's first 5 or 6 starts and the stats that he put up? According to these guys, you would just give up on him and never go back to him ever again. He ended up being the best of all time in the league.
You and I watched that, and he didn't remember?
Yes, but
we're that old.
But the stats were even more glaring. I didn't realize how poor his first few games were in terms of statistics.
Right, but also maybe he was
best ever.
Maybe he was on a bad team. Like that was Las Vegas Posse and then Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes. They weren't good teams back then.
No, and he didn't have protection. I mean, look at Cody Fajardo as a perfect example of a guy where when he was playing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, he got Darian Duranted and Ron Lancaster.
Ran out of town.
People were booing him and saying all kinds of terrible things about him. But I used to tell people, maybe he's taken a step back. Maybe he hasn't. We don't know, because every time they snap the ball, the man is under constant attack. You can't judge players playing at that position when they have absolutely zero protection whatsoever. I said to somebody, there was a specific game. I want to say that they were playing the Toronto Argos, but I could be wrong on that. But they played a game. I remember it was an evening game. I think it might have been a Saturday night. And he threw a couple of bad interceptions, granted, and he didn't have a very good game. But I remember somebody that was we were on one of those buses they pick you up and they drive you back to your vehicle in the city. I remember this guy beside us was just absolutely dumping on Cody Fajardo. I remember I said to him, Tom Brady would not have fared much better in this game, because every time they snapped the ball, it was like a full-on assault. It was like a sieve on the offensive line. How can you judge anybody when you have zero time to throw? You have no chance. But young quarterback. And you know what? Hey, let's be honest. Sometimes you do invest a lot of time in him and it doesn't work out. So that's true. But how would you judge in 1 quarter of football for a guy whether he can
Don't
play or
make
not?
too much of it. I'm just saying this is what they were saying last night. To the audience, by the way, Silver Fox with us here, Moose Jaw Warriors Alumni Golf going on at the Hillcrest. I was talking about when you go to a game, which were you there last night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you go to the game to watch the game? Because a lot of people do. Or do you go to the game to party and see your friends? And because a lot of people do that. Ken,
not me.
Ken I'm not sure where Ken is, obviously Southern Ontario. He says Tim Hortons Field for Ticats games is mostly a social and up and down for food and beer event. The game is almost secondary, which, to be honest, the teams don't care. You know that as an old-timer. We just want your money. Do whatever you want when you get inside. They don't care if you're seeing.
No, and nor should they. Nor should they, because let's face it. You're going to get a cross-section of all kinds of different people, right? There's going to be people like myself that are very dialed into the game. Like, I don't go there to socialize per se. I enjoy watching the game with my son, for example, but we talk when in between calls or plays, we're talking about the game. But there's also, if you, Rod, you know this, hockey, football, whatever, if you relied specifically on only the diehard core, fanatical, knowledgeable fan, there wouldn't be a league that would
broke.
That's right, because not everybody is. So you have to cater. My daughter's a good example. She doesn't analyze every play. She doesn't care. Doesn't even really understand the game. But she loves going to the Rider games because it's an event and it's fun. But she doesn't want the coach fired after the game. She doesn't care. She goes there to have a good time and watch the kiss cam and, watch the shenanigans in between. But my son and I, we go to watch the game. So you get everybody.
So everybody does, right. So there's no right answer to it. The question is, what is it for you? BW writes in from Edmonton and says, does the Silver Fox have a podcast? Well, you did.
One podcast, and then it was Peter Labardius and I started one, and then he got called into the principal's office by Roger Sportsnet and reprimanded for doing a podcast, and we never saw one again. So it was a short podcast.
I feel like if people really knew what actually goes on, then they would know how much fun we have on this show.
Yeah.
Where we can literally go where we want, do what we want, say what we want, and by the way, we never ever get in trouble for anything we do say.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, yeah.
Back in the day, you sure did.
That's why I'm sitting here. Yeah.
I think we might have got dragged in a couple of times together.
They got the sound effects going in my ear. You'd love them. What specifically do you recall that we got in trouble for? I don't remember anything real bad.
No, not really bad. But I remember one time you and I were doing it's not so much we got in trouble, but there was a couple of comments about our Randy Travis singing.
I don't remember it, but was I still drinking then?
I think so.
Probably,
I don't think it influenced the pitch of your tune or anything.
Oh,
like that.
yeah. No, I'm just saying I don't really remember. There's a lot of it was a blur. Let's be honest. We talked a lot about the Rider game tonight. Oh, hang on a second. Buffalo Bill writes in, where the hell is it? Buffalo Bill says, greetings and Independence Day hallucinations. From very attractive 66 degrees, Juneau, North Dakota. CFL is approved. Let's go, Winnipeg. We don't need any more dumpster fires. ... Edmonton. What are your thoughts on around the league so far this season, and knowing that we're only in week 5, but have you made any generalities? Conclusions?
Well, I have to admit that I am surprised that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are 0-4 and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are 4-0. Those would be sort of the two teams, and to some extent Montreal. I thought that I knew Montreal was going to be a real good team this year, but I mean they've exceeded my expectations. They are the class of the league, I would have to say at this point. Generally speaking, though, there hasn't been too many surprises, but I am a little bit surprised that Winnipeg hasn't won a single football game yet. I didn't think that, and I still think, Rod, when it's all said and done, that they're going to. I don't think that they're going to go, 2-16 or anything. I think eventually they're going to get it figured out a little bit. They've lost some close football games, and they just, I guess it's their time, right? It happens. You see guys like Willie Jefferson out there. He's a great player. Back in the day, I'm not sure he's a great player anymore. He's a good player, but he can't do the things that he once did. And they've got a number of guys that they're just, their best days are behind him, and so there's a changing of the guard, and they'll get it figured out.
Camper in Winnipeg writes in, he says, it's father-daughter game day here. I need to find my hat for Cowboy Night. Clearly that's an upcoming game. Ottawa's there tonight in Winnipeg. Who do you think wins? Are you watching it close enough to make an informed prediction?
Yeah, I would. You know what? You're not going to hold the Bombers down forever. I predict Winnipeg will win that football game.
Well, since we're sitting here spitballing, Calgary at Montreal on Saturday. Jim Barker basically, to quote Jeff the Stamps fan, says, according to Jim Barker, the Stamps might as well not even go play the game. They got a lot of injuries.
Really?
Yeah, they had a lot of injuries
going
to the game.
And they're playing against probably the best team in the league at home. So
Kim in Calgary writes, this is the Stampeders hand the Alouettes their first loss Saturday. Signed Kim in Calgary. And since we got Calgary here, I just realized one conversation you and I got in a lot of trouble for was regarding the Calgary Stampede. Tony from... right?
Yeah.
Tony from George Fox Country writes, and he says, sorry, I'm late. Read this. I preferred watching the Calgary Stampede parade over Jim Barker. Same amount of horse crap. He doesn't like Jim Barker.
Well, I like his analysis.
It's fantastic. His is a personal thing that goes back to amateur football in Calgary, whatever. But it was about the Calgary Stampede, which, by the way, I don't think we would take back our comments on the Calgary Stampede. Not that we have a problem with the Calgary Stampede, but it was about the chuck wagon racing and the danger of it, which incidentally they've changed and went down to 3 lanes because of it.
I don't think
we might have caused that change.
I don't think anybody was more furious than your brother Lee. He didn't talk to you for how long?
Still isn't. He was very upset. He's a cowboy. He's a cowboy.
Yeah. And I understand why they would be upset, but we weren't dumping on the Stampede. We were just saying, like,
this is a dangerous activity.
Yes, it is. And how do you argue that? Every 3 or 4 years, there'd be a few dead horses.
Some people don't like the truth, right? Which, again, is why we're sitting here. Rems, thanks for coming in.
Always
enjoy the afternoon. I'll see you out there when we're done.
You betcha. Hey, thanks for having me.
Don't take off yet. Wyatt! Okay, we'll be right back. We're Taylor Shire coming in next. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Get your
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team. Seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lequette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Hi, my name is Logan Stanhope.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues on a Football Friday. Hope you're having as much fun as we are. You got to love when the live guests drop in and out. And big thanks to the Silver Fox, Kelly Rempel, for jumping in to join us from the Warriors Alumni Golf. And now Taylor Shire doing the same thing, but he's not here at the golf course. He's in the Queen City covering last night's big Roughriders win 30-23 over the Toronto Argonauts. Hey, Taylor, thanks for the time. Leader Post columnist and writer. We talked with Jim Barker about it last night. Riders that good or Argos that bad? What did you see from your vantage point?
I'm going to say Argo's that bad, but, credit to the Riders defense for forcing many of those turnovers. I think that was really the story of the game, was the 5 turnovers, 4 interceptions that the Riders forced on Cameron Dukes, although he sort of made a couple of bad throws in there. So I think it's a little bit of both. It would be the easy answer. Really, though, if you ask me after the first quarter, the Argos played unbelievable to start the game. Shea Pedersen had, I think, 1 completion and 1 first down through the first quarter. They were bringing the blitz on every play. So I think really what the story of the game was Shea Pedersen getting settled in and Mark Mueller making the adjustments with the play calling. I don't think they really threw over 20 yards after the first quarter. So the adjusted play calling, the adjustments by the Riders as a whole, I think really led to that victory. Yeah, and like I said, after the first quarter, it was not the storyline that I was expecting the way it ended up finishing.
Well, listen, I was at the Warriors Alumni Golf. I didn't turn it on until late in the second quarter, so I didn't see any of what you're talking about. To be honest, I mostly saw Rider domination over the second half. But let me ask you this. Shea Pedersen, right after the game, did credit Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator, for the adjustments in-game. Who else did afterwards? You were at the post-game media availability. Who else was talking about Mueller?
I think Corey Mace mentioned Mueller. There's a lot of players, Sam Emelis as well. Like, Mark Mueller does deserve a lot of the credit. He's not the guy, obviously, that we're going to talk to right after a win, but kind of even last week heading in, I talked to him about some of the adjustments that he would have to make with Shea Pedersen taking over for Trevor Harris. Obviously different quarterbacks, but he really said the system is essentially the same. He can just do a little bit something differently, not necessarily more, but just something differently. And and Shea can create plays with his legs, and we saw that on the touchdown run. So Mueller just has to work towards Shea's game by allowing him to run when he has the chance or when his second or third read isn't available. But really, I think it was those short throws. Toronto was bringing the blitz, so Saskatchewan responded with short throws, small hitch passes. Even the touchdown to Sam Emelis was a 5-yard, 6-yard completion, and Emelis did the rest, 34 yards. So, like I said, Mark Mueller, I think, deserves kind of a shout-out to maybe a game ball for some of the adjustments that the offense was able to make.
I think it's just funny. You've been covering sports around there for a long time. We all knew Mark Mueller was capable of this. We know he's one of the greatest offensive minds in the game, just football overall. And when people said he was only hired because his grandfather's Ron Lancaster, not only would it not bother him, he'd laugh. People just don't know what they're talking about. But you know what? There's a lot of those around. Let me ask you this. 4-0 start. It's been a dream. I'll be for the Riders. I mean, I would say the first couple of games, you could say the opposition gave it to them. Fourth quarter implosions. Not here now. We're at a point now where this is a really good football team, Taylor. How far do you think it goes?
It's a good question, and I don't think we really know. But one thing is clear. They're undefeated, but they're not perfect. This is not a perfect football team that's running away with wins. Their starting quarterback is now injured, so can Shea Pedersen be that answer? I mean, we saw sort of a similar thing in 2019 it was earlier, but when Claros got hurt, Cody Fajardo sort of took the team on his shoulders. So how long is Trevor Harris out? Can Shea Pedersen go on continue this strong run to the start of the season that they've had? I think obviously that'll all be answered. But if you ask me what I think the season's going to look like, I think obviously I don't think they're going to go undefeated. I think there'll be some blips. They have a really tough test in BC next week. I think there'll be some blips here and there, but they really have the foundation for a strong team, a sense of belief. There's hope, all of those things that you need, some of those intangibles. They have the skill, they have the right people, and now you need that belief, that buy-in, that will. And I think this team does have it. So I think, good things are going to happen for this team this year. I don't know if they'll win the Grey Cup necessarily, but they're certainly going to be a playoff team based on what I've seen so far, and I think they're going to make some noise.
Thank you for the analysis. And for all those writing in, I will get to your comments later because I want to switch topics here. Just Marshall writing in from Winnipeg says, I agree with you. I love games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't change it. Do you have a quick thought on that? I love the CFL's doing this in the summer. It's been 2 or 3 years of doing it. A game every night, primetime TV. That's just me. The viewers seem to agree. Do you?
Yeah, I agree with it. It gives me something to watch on any given night, right? And I think that's really what you want. It's not all crammed into, you're not having to watch a triple header on a Saturday, which nobody really can sit around. I mean, you can, but you don't really want to sit around for 9 hours on a Saturday and be parked in front of the TV. So I like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's obviously going to change come September when the NFL season rolls around. They're not going to play any more Sunday games. I don't even think there's any more Thursday games. So it will change, but for now, I certainly like it. Although I know some teams have had issues. I don't think the Riders have had issues, but there's been a few short weeks where a team is playing on a Saturday and again on a Thursday. I think the Riders have one of those coming up where they have to go to Montreal on a Thursday after playing, I believe it's Winnipeg the week prior. It's in a few weeks now. So that's going to be a short week. They're going to go there on 4 days. So I think if you ask the players and the coaches, they don't really love the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but from a fan watching perspective, I think it's great.
Okay, so to what I really wanted to talk to you about, I'm not joking, is Jessica Campbell. Because the last time you were on, the notion came out that Rocanville's Jessica Campbell was to join the Seattle Kraken. It wasn't made official till this week that Rocanville's Jessica Campbell will be the first female assistant coach in the National Hockey League on the bench. You know her. She's from your hometown. Tell us about Jessica Campbell, please.
Yeah, just an outstanding hire. And really, she's an outstanding person. And, going back to watching her grow up, I was a few years older than her. So she actually, I think, AP'd with our novice or Adam team one year and didn't look out of place, even though she was three years younger. But just an outstanding person. And even growing up, you could tell she kind of had that it factor and something special about her. She was a great hockey player. Obviously playing against the boys back in Rocanville, she was the best player out on the ice. And eventually she moved to Melville to play AAA girls hockey there. But even leading up to that, you could see that she had something special. She went on to play for the Canadian national team, obviously a great career at Cornell. And then she came back and once she was done her playing career, she developed that power skating, sort of business. And that really took off. And obviously she was in Kelowna for a little bit, training guys like Brent Seabrook. But then she actually came back to Rocanville, taught the course, and kind of gave back to the community there, just out of the goodness of her heart, because that's the type of person that she is. So to see her get this opportunity now, I think everybody in Rocanville is proud of her, surrounding area, Saskatchewan as a whole, Canada, and I think women's hockey in general. So there's a number of layers to the people that can get a sense of pride, for this historic hire. And it, like I said, just a remarkable person and a great family.
I love the comments. I've never met her, but let me ask you this. Is she the type that would be uncomfortable with the notoriety that's come along with this? Like, she probably just wants to get to work. She's a hockey coach. Is that how she would look at that, or how would she look at this? Or be real proud of being a trailblazer, because that's a super big deal.
Yeah, I think that's twofold. I think she's proud, and she has said in some of the interviews that she's proud to be the first. But I think what she is most proud of is that this will open the door, and she will open the door for others to now walk through it and others to be hired. So I think that's what she'll take the most pride in. But yes, she did say in a couple of her interviews, and knowing her a little bit, she wants to get to work. She's going to put her head down. It's not about being the first female. It's about being the best coach. And I think, like I said a couple of weeks ago or months ago when we were talking, if you look at her resume, she's the right coach for a team like this. And she has all the, female, whatever it is, female, male, it doesn't matter. Look at her resume. She's absolutely qualified for this role, and I think she'll do a great job.
Awesome job. Well, you're doing a fine job, man. I love your coverage. Thank you, Taylor. Enjoy the weekend and can't wait to chat again. Hope to see you this summer.
All right. Talk to you soon, Roddy.
Taylor Shire of the Regina Leader-Post. We'll be back with overtime right after this. I've got coverage from the Calgary Stampede Parade this morning. That's coming up next. Plus all of your questions and comments in the final overtime of the week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back live here on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Live, and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience. Best seat in the house.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, everybody, it's the final overtime of the week. It's brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They are big football fans, too, as well as hockey people. But check them out. Calgary Stampede is on. What's the Stampede special, Randy and Michelle? That's what I want to know. At Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, you're looking for something to do? Go shoot off the hangover if that's your thing. Just go check them out. Licensed restaurant and bar there. Overtime Hockey Lanes. Now is the time. We've only been talking about it for over a year. 28th Street Northeast. Tell them Rod sent you. Where skill and fun collide. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Cowtown. And I'm going to read the sports update from there, which isn't really, like, is Calgary Stampede a sport? I just opened up the news wire to find what was going on in sports, and this popped me in the face. I'm like, I'm going to read it. Calgary residents took some relief from their water woes Friday, lining up 6 deep downtown to watch the parade launching the annual Summer Stampede Festival. Some savvy parade watchers began preparations Thursday night, roping together camping chairs to ensure a front row view. Others arrived as the sun rose hours before the start to ensure a good spot to watch the 100 entries, including 21 floats, 11 marching bands, and 700 horses. The parade was held a month to the day after a major water main broke in the city's northwest, flooding streets and turning off the taps to 60% of the drinking water for the city and surrounding communities. Crews scrambled to repair the line and, in the process, found 5 more weak spots to fix. A directive to have Calgarians cut their indoor water use by 25% with fewer showers and toilet flushes was lifted earlier this week.
How about that?
So with that, yahoo! The Calgary Stampede is underway. But because I'm sitting out here and have been ensconced in CFL football and WCBL baseball and hosting a Florida NHL podcast, I haven't seen who the parade marshal was. Can somebody tell me who the parade marshal was? Do you know, Clark? I'm guessing no, because you live here. Who is the parade marshal for the Calgary Stampede? I would love to know. And it was 2 summers ago. Thanks again. It was 2 summers ago that I was in Calgary, and I had no idea. Said it many times. I went to college in Calgary, almost moved there a few times, but I don't really know Calgary. So I thought, you know what? I'll do the RP show and then roll on down and watch the Calgary Stampede Parade with Kevin Costner as the parade marshal. Nope. If I'd known better, we should have carried it live. That's what we should have done if we could have got the broadcast rights for it. I was getting anywhere near downtown Calgary for the parade and to see Kevin Costner. What was I thinking? Don't. You got to plan in advance like these people have. But when I told my cowboy brother that I was going to go to the Stampede, he's like, I wouldn't. If I was you, I wouldn't. Because he's a cowboy. He's been there multiple times. He's like, it's not for you. I'm like, what do you know? I'm going to go. He was right. I went to say I did it. I don't need to go back. Too crazy. Too crazy. Too crazy. I used to like crazy. I don't like crazy anymore. The sports update, or whatever that just was, is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Mondays are Seniors Day, so plan your Monday. Get more of the movies you love every Monday for less. Seniors enjoy 20% off the posted seniors admission price. And to sweeten the deal, receive 20% off their concession purchase too. So make Mondays your movie day because a great deal never gets old. Check your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes and pricing. Also, of course, brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Common Crown believes in us, and we believe in them, and they've signed up for another year with us here on the RP show. So if you're in Southern Alberta, which is their thing, that's their hood, you have a choice, make it Common Crown. To the text line, 902-518-3033. I'm not promising you tons and tons and tons of CFL coverage, but we're doing it in the summer. My guy, Matt, in Florida, writes in regarding the CFL Thursday, Friday, Saturday schedule. Matt writes in, he goes, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is awesome. It's better than watching Fox or CNN. This right here is the wheelhouse for the Canadian Football League to make hay, because there's not as many people that are caring about tennis. I don't think in Canada as many about soccer, although you would think based on the amount of coverage they're getting, but there isn't. So enjoy the CFL right now, and for God's sakes, I mean, you can bitch about it if you want. Just don't expect me to listen to you or pay any credence to it. because I don't agree. One game a day, Thursday through Sunday, is the best thing the CFL has done in years. Regarding the Bombers and their struggles, Bob in Morden, Manitoba writes in. He goes, the CFL has to go to Fridays and Saturdays as soon as the NFL starts. They're going to, so they're going to. And he also says, correct, the Bombers are 0-4 because of no protection for Zach. Well, he's not playing tonight. It's Chris Streveler getting the start for the Bombers. And I'm sorry, but I'm going with Ottawa. Changed my pick. Bob, I've just noticed some of the texts that you've sent in here from the past. I like them. Thank you for the support. Bomber Boy writes in and says, for those saying the Bombers are going 0-5 to start the season, they seem to forget the 2011 Lions who started 0-5 and still won the Cup. Yeah, and I tell you what, those guys on the 0-5 BC Lions, by name, well, not the whole team, but Tad Cornegay and Arlen Bruce, our good friends. How nice is it to be part of history to say, we're on that team? That's why you want to make history, folks. That's why winning still matters. I'll say it, winning still matters. You might think that it doesn't and everybody gets a trophy, but no, winning matters because the winners go home with a prom queen. That still happens. El Sasko writes in, or shall I say Vintage Sasko texts in and says, solid-ass show. Made the drive to Mosaic Stadium last night. Was back home after midnight. Nothing beats a prairie night outdoors and crushing Wendy's cheeseburgers on a road trip home. Love this province, signed Vintage Sasko. I love it, too, in the summer. And that's why I'm here. And don't forget, we got the Rattlers tonight, home to the Scarborough Shooting Stars, if that's your thing, 7:30 at Sask Health Center. Also, Winnipeg at Montreal tonight in the CEBL, Vancouver at Edmonton. Doubleheader, Millers and Swift Current 57s here. I'll be calling both those games tonight, 6 and 8:30. But check out the other games. Medicine Hat at the Saskatoon Berries. The Regina Red Sox, home to the Weyburn Beavers. Brooks at Lethbridge. Edmonton at Okotoks. Fort McMurray at Sylvan Lake. More than anything, be good to each other. But most importantly, be good to yourself. Stop being so hard on yourself. Have a great, safe weekend, everybody. And that includes you, Clark. Don't do anything silly. And we'll see you Monday back here, noon Eastern.
Who has more fun than us?